In Monolix, it is possible to change the preferences of the plots, such as colors and sizes, and it is also possible to save them to apply the same preferences to the plots when you load another project. This way, you can create a custom theme and share it with other users. First, let's have a look at the plots on this example to see what the preferences are. On any diagnostic plot, preferences for color and size of the elements are available in the panel Preferences. Here, for example, I can change the colors of the observed data to display them in red, and I can increase the dot radius. I can also color the individual feeds in blue and choose dashed lines instead of solid lines. If I write 8, the dashes and gaps will be of same length 8, and with a second number I can control the length of the gaps independently. In preferences for the plotting region, I can change the colors, sizes and distances set for the spacing between subplots, axes, subplot titles, axis labels, or the legend. For example, this is how I increase the font size for the subplot titles, and then the vertical padding to differentiate the subplots better. So you can customize the preferences for colors and sizes that you prefer. In order to remember these preferences, two options are possible, depending if you want them to apply to this Monolix run only or to all your future Monolix runs. If you want to save the preferences for the current project only, which is named pk1.mlxtran here, then saving the project after having modified the preferences will save all the modifications in a file pk1.properties next to pk1.mlxtran. When reloading the same project, Monolix will read the modified preferences from this file, in addition to any stratification option that I might have applied. The stratification options are all the modifications done in the panel Stratify, for example, to filter only females. However, the modifications will not affect other Monolix projects that will still be loaded with the default preferences. If you want to save the modified preferences for all projects, you can export them from Monolix as new default settings for the plots. This is the option I will choose now to create a custom theme for all my plots in Monolix. In this case, they will be saved in a file named settings.default in your home folder. You need to close and open Monolix again to apply these new default settings to any project. Stratification options are not saved in this file because they depend on each project. The file settings.default is located at this path in your home folder. Note that the path to your home folder depends on your operating system and contains your username. In my case, I can find the file settings.default here. And you can now see it here. So when I click on Export, Export Chart Settings as Default, and Save, this file is updated with a new default. Now the plots will follow the same preferences when I reload Monolix. But what if I want to go back to the default preferences? In that case, I can just remove the file settings.default, or if I may want to use again my customized preferences in the future, I can also rename the file instead of removing it. For example, as settings custom. When I next open Monolix, a new file settings.default that contains the default preferences of Monolix is generated. Of course, it is possible to save several settings files and use the one that you want when appropriate. For example, I have now also added a file settings black and white that I have exported from Monolix after choosing a black and white theme for my plots with shades of gray. If I want to use this one now, I just need to remove the file settings.default generated by Monolix, make a copy of my personalized file with black and white theme, and rename the copy as settings.default. Now, if I close and open Monolix again, and I open another project, all generated plots will follow my black and white scheme. You can see that I have also increased the font size for the ticks, axis labels, and legends. My plots are now ready to print and meet my personal requirement. See you next week!